What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Thaumcraft 5. Now, I know it's been a while since our last episode, but I'm super excited for this episode because we're going to be messing around with liquid death. Now, it does sound a little bit cooler than it actually is, but it is super effective, and hopefully we're going to be putting it to its best use today. Now, it actually comes as a bucket of liquid death, and then you put it into the liquid form, but when you create it, you're throwing a bucket into the crucible, and you're just combining a couple different aspects to actually make the liquid death. So you're pretty much getting it from thin air, which I think is interesting. But when you place it down, it's pretty much like this purple sludge. What you might imagine you would, kind of visualize death as if it were a liquid, if it were a tangible thing, which I think is pretty awesome. It's got some cool animations to it, but the real cool aspect comes in what it does. So of course, it's called liquid death. It's going to damage you when you touch it. It's going to kill you if you sit in it. It will kill any living creature. Now, that does include hostile things, so you might not necessarily consider a zombie a living creature, but it does hurt zombies. It hurts creepers. I haven't tested skeletons yet. That would be the one thing that I would say is borderline not a living creature, but I think the most important distinction is going to be that it does not destroy drops, so that makes it great for making a mob farm. Now, on top of that, it's twice as good for making a mob farm because it gives you the regular drops, but then it also gives you Crystallized Essentia. So if you don't know what Crystallized Essentia is, that's because we haven't really gone into the Essentia Crystallizer, which you could have gotten when we started researching the Essentia Smeltery, but all it does is pretty much turn it from your Essentia that we've got in these warded jars into an actual tangible thing. Now, I've never really felt the need to do that, but we will get that from this, so we're pretty much doubling up on all the Essentia generating possibilities from a mob farm, which I think is pretty darn cool. Now, on top of that, we're going to be able to combine some of the things that we recently worked with, including the Hungry Chest and some magic mirrors to make the transportation a little bit better. So, it's pretty easy. We got the stuff right here to craft the Hungry Chest. We only actually need one trapdoor. We've got the stuff right here for the bucket. I have all of the aspects in Essentia ready to go in terms of getting the liquid death. And then we've got, I thought we were going to use a regular chest, but it turns out we're just going to be using the Hungry Chest because it's a little bit more effective. We don't need a hopper then because of that. Actually, we will need these for the other end, I should say, but we've got the 2 magic mirrors for transporting stuff, so all we really need is the liquid death research. Now, the research is relatively easy to get. It's going to be in the alchemy tab, and it's going to be if you come over from basic alchemy to magic tallow to entropic processing, and then this is kind of where you get like all the taint stuff. You've got the taint shard here, bottled taint, and a little bit before that is liquid death. I think this whole area is pretty cool because you got some of the forbidden knowledge, and it's also pretty purple. I think it's a cool color. I don't know why, but you got the bucket of liquid death right here. I pretty much said it's got the cool bubbles on it. Those actually do show up when you use the liquid, when you place it down. I just got to be careful not to fall in it. So we're going to get the research note for this, and I'm going to apologize right now if you guys can hear people in the background. It's a Friday night, and people in my hall are being a little loud, but we're going to do this research on camera. I know I don't do that very often, but this one's a relatively easy one considering the mortise has the aqua in it. So we're just going to connect this to, I guess, what's the second one? So we could actually connect this to either one if we wanted to, but I think we're going to go with aqua for this one, and then we're just going to combine aqua and terra to get the Victus, and then up top we can do that same thing, combine them again to get Victus up here, and then we can do terra again, and we're going to have to do Victus twice, or we're going to have to do Victus once here, and then we're going to have to do terra again. So I'm going to put the terra up here just because I don't want to get in the way of the Perdicio. And then one thing that we can do, I guess, is turn it back into mortise up here so we can do the aqua. Let me think this through. So we can do aqua, and then we can do the aqua combined with Perdicio and get the mortise. Which way do I want to go? I guess that's the better way to go. And then we can do Perdicio, and then we can combine Perdicio with anything. So let's just do Ordo, Permutatio, and boom, there we go. I don't know if that's the most efficient way to do it. I feel like you could do this center portion a little bit better, but good enough for us. And actually, you know what? I'll throw that in there for just one more second to make it easier for people to pause if they want to actually grab that research. But if I can do it, so can you guys. Pretty darn easy. So we have gained warp from that, which will eventually be useful in trying to get the Eldritch tab. But we've got the liquid death going. And it pretty much says, if we look over here, for external use only. So, I mean, it's really not for external use anyway, because you wouldn't want to stick your hand in this stuff, because it's going to hurt you anyway, but you should not ingest this, or try to. I don't know why you would, but, I mean, I guess if you're trying to figure out a way to die, ingesting liquid death might be an interesting way to go about it. I don't know, The liquid is so dangerously toxic, that does look toxic, that virtually nothing can prevent it from dissolving flesh, bone, or harder substances. So I guess it will kill skeletons. Nothing alive or that even displays the semblance of life can survive. Okay, so I actually don't recall reading that, but yeah, that means it'll kill any hostile creature. Apart from obvious practical applications, this vile substance has another interesting property. Any essentia a dissolved creature possesses forms into crystals that can be harvested. Now this basically just drops like regular items, so you'll get one like Ignis or Terra or something along those lines. I believe it's pretty much primal aspects. I don't know if you get any more complex ones from the mobs, but I'm perfectly fine with the primal ones because those are pretty darn useful. But I will leave to the reader's imagination what you can use those crystals for. So eventually we'll find a better use for them than just turning them back into Essentia if there is one, but for the time being I'm not going to look too far into that. We just need to get going on this. So liquid death, like I said, you just need a bucket and a crucible, and you get the liquid death combining it with vitreous, perdicio, and mortis. I think that's how you say that, with the 2 U's, I'm not sure. But an easy way to get this is from bones I found. They're pretty abundant, and you get 2 from it on average. And then perdicio and vitreous are pretty darn easy to get, but I thought I'd drop that one in there if you guys were curious. So we should have all those that we need so we can craft the bucket. I know I already have 2 in my inventory, but I like to keep 2 on me at most times. So we got our bucket over here, and we should be able to just toss it into the crucible over here, the thaumatorium. Pretty much just a better crucible. And we don't want a lava bucket, but that's actually really cool. I didn't know that was a recipe. We want the bucket of liquid death. So we'll get that going. It's going to take a little bit because each of these requires 32. But I think it'll be pretty darn cool. And I still haven't put a hungry chest over here. That was one of the first recommendations I got when I put this down, so I don't miss anything. And I put down a hungry chest over here on the front. This was great for getting all the stone we're going to be using today, but on the front of the infernal furnace, but I never put one down over here, but we're going to be using one today, so I guess it makes up for it. So we gain some warp from making it, which is perfectly fine. So we do not want to place this down because it will kill us. I don't know how fast it'll kill us really, with our armor on and stuff like that, or if it even takes that into account. There are some, distinctions about it killing you compared to like lava that I don't actually know, but it seems to be pretty similar. So now what we're going to get is grab out and make the hungry chest, and we'll get out the rest of this stuff. And chances are what I'm going to do is speed up the building of the mob farm. The one downside that I have is that I don't actually have really any caves lit up around here, any big caves, because this series has required minimal caving. It hasn't really been that. It's just been tedious grinding to get simple resources, not necessarily caving and getting ores and stuff. So I haven't lit up too many caves. Most of the time that I was down there was just to get all the stone that we're going to be using today, but we're going to have pretty bad spawn rates, pretty bad spawn rates. So what I'm probably going to do is do like one layer off camera just to show you guys how I'm setting it up. It'll be the same as I always do. It'll be ethos set up for it with the pads that won't spawn spiders. We'll bring it down to one funneling point, and then finally I will hop off camera. I'll AFK for a fair bit of time, try and sleep, make sure it's day, let a couple guys spawn, and then we'll see how things turn out and just look at the results so you guys can judge if you want to use this in your world or not. Now we're running out of space in the base, and instead of expanding it every which way, I'm deciding that we're probably just going to get rid of this infinite pool over here. So I'm going to fill up both of my buckets before we actually do this, since we're going to need these for our build today. And then we can start filling this in, and I should probably grab the stone if that's what we're going to be using. It's got a ton of stone here, way more than a full inventory, so I'm going to drop off our scribing tools, I'm going to drop off our paper, and everything else does seem to have a purpose for the time being, even though we're not using all of it at once. But I think this right here should be at least close to enough for one of the layers. It might be a little bit too little just because we're at the bottom layer, so there's nothing actually down there. But right here, we're just going to fill this in with regular stone because this is where our glass is going to go, since I think we're going to drop them right here and not over one in case we ever want to expand on this side. So we're going to drop them right here, and we can start heading up. And oh, I was like, what are we doing? We got no inventory room. No, he's coming over to steal them. The radius is too big. Okay. Yeah, the radius is pretty darn big for that. I totally forgot it's showing. Oh, we're using the effect of this. I keep forgetting that. Okay. Yeah, so I'm probably going to speed this up, just speed up a couple clips and throw some fancy music that I like on there. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully you stick around. I'll probably throw an annotation if you just want to skip over this, because I've done a time lapse of this or a sped up version of it a couple times. So if you don't feel like sticking around for this, you might want to click the annotation, or I'll say now, thank you for watching the video, guys, if you're clicking off now, but hopefully you enjoy the music selection too. Okay guys, so we're back. Now I actually decided against doing any sped up clips with any music just because I've done it so many times. It was a little bit of a hard decision for me, but I wanted to show you guys before I put the roof on this and it gets really dark inside and hard to actually show you around. This is the setup if you've never seen it before. It's essentially 3x3 pads that are elevated by 2 from where the water streams will be that are going to prevent spiders from spawning by using the half slabs on them. And it's pretty much just going to be 4 in the center and then 2 out in every direction from those. And the water streams are going to go there, there, and there, and they will all stop right before falling down the central little chute right here, and it's easy to layer it on top of each other. So it's a pretty efficient setup. If you've ever seen Etho's video on it, it should look very familiar. But now what I think I'm going to do is put the water streams in, put the ceiling on top, and then I will let some mobs build up. We can set up the liquid death downstairs and see how this thing actually works. Okay guys, so I finished things off upstairs. Now we're back in the base and we're ready to set up the liquid death portion of this. Now I haven't even blocked this off, which I actually am going to do right now just in case something does fall down here like a creeper, so we don't actually have any issues with that, but it should be relatively easy to set up. Now my plan is that right here I'm going to break this block and I'm going to put down the magic mirror. Now if you don't know, the magic mirrors can kind of go in any orientation that you need, and then all you do is take the other magic mirror and you right click on that one and there you go. So now this should be teleporting between these two, and I'm going to bring it out right over, I want to put it right over here basically, so it's going to go right there. Now anything that gets dropped into this one should come out the other side, so let's test that out just to be sure. Can't bring humans unfortunately, or anything bigger than a block, but a block gets dropped down there, it should get kicked right out over here. Yep, so there we go. Perfectly fine. I can easily move this if I need to, if I want to move the focal manipulator and recharge pedestal somewhere else that's a little bit more convenient, but the main idea is that we want things to fall onto this pretty much and that just be the end of them. Now because liquid death looks so cool, I want to be able to see it a little bit, so we're going to be putting this glass right here and then the liquid death down right here. Now I got to make sure I do not fall into this at all because that is not something that I want, so we're going to put this down. It looks really cool just like that, and I'm going to have to go in and turn the animations on, whether it's this episode or just at some point in the future, because, oh, there we go, we can see a bubble or two. It might happen when stuff goes into it. Let's see. Does it bubble when stuff goes in, or it might just be random? But we're going to throw it on this glass, and there's another bubble. Pretty darn cool. We're going to just glass this all the way up. Now, the item should easily be able to make it through there, having no problem at all, and come out this side, but other things will not be that lucky. So what we're going to do is come over here, and I think we're going to actually break the focal manipulator and recharge pedestal right now, and we're going to move this mirror over one. So let's grab this back. It should still be linked perfectly fine. Yep. And we're going to throw it right here, and then we're going to throw a hungry chest down right below it. So anything that goes through there should pop out right here, and that'll most likely end up being probably a lot of zombie drops, probably a lot of like primal essentia or crystal essentia. But what I think I'm going to do now is hop off camera, let a couple things fall in here eventually, and then I'll just come back, show you guys how it turned out, and I think we'll call it a day. Okay guys, so we are back. Now I don't know if anything's gonna fall down while I'm standing over here. I know a zombie just fell down, so I had some hopes that a couple more might fall down so you guys could just see, but it does look pretty darn awesome. They fall down in here and you can barely even see them because they are able to fall on top of the magic mirror, so they pretty much have their heads stuck in the liquid death, but it worked pretty effectively. It took me a while just AFKing on here to actually get the results that I wanted, but we can head back over and take a look at these. I'm pretty darn happy with how it turned out though, so obviously we're gonna have to add like a lot more floors onto this thing, but eventually it should be pretty great for this. But we got some Humanus, we got some Terra, Exanimus from the zombies, we got some Herba, some Ignis, which I guess are from creepers. This is probably from zombies too. I don't know, this might actually be from skellies and these would be from the zombies, but we also have the regular drops, which of course we can turn into a couple different types of Essentia if we really wanted to. But for the most part, it is serving its purpose, and I think it does a pretty awesome job of combining a lot of the different kind of minor things that you have offered to you by Thaumcraft. So it's a pretty fun way to make what I would consider to be a crystallized Essentia farm. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot. And I really want to apologize to those of you that do really enjoy the Thaumcraft 5 series if you're subscribed for it or you prefer it over the others. I apologize that it's so few and far between, but there are a couple things that prevent me from doing this series, such as the prep time required, along with the fact that it's not my favorite series out of all of them. I like it. I'm excited to do certain episodes, but I really wait for something to pique my interest or for some idea to, spark in my mind. But on top of that, I should note this before we go. If we open up the Thaumonomicon, we got the Eldritch tab covered. When I was working with this, I don't think it was on camera, but I got the Eldritch tab unlocked because we had enough warp. So we will be covering that next episode, but like I said, please feel free to drop the like if you did enjoy the episode. But that's going to be it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later.